Welcome back to another episode of the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. My name is World Undone. Thank you so much for joining me in this episode. And our next task is to try and figure out how to get out of this room. The Great Sherlock Holmes, which by the way I refuse to call him that. I called him Sherlock Holmes throughout the entire last episode, and I don't think I'm going to stop anytime soon. We'll see. Has elected to continue to have us be the prime suspect, even though he never said that, and he's going on to investigate the next room, and we have to try to get out of this room. So there's something we should be able to do, in theory. Oh right, I guess we examine. So this is all fine. We've all checked all this stuff before. And we talked to him again. Oh, let's examine the door. When I went for help and the crewman forced the door open, this bolt had been firmly closed. It's quite a small bolt and not particularly sturdy. And it just slides across to secure the door shut. But still, with the door bolted, there would be no way to get in or out of the cabin, that's for sure. I don't know. What about the ventilator up at top, or whatever it was actually called? It's no wonder everyone suspects me. When she glares at me like that, I feel tense all up and down my spine. Maybe it's because she's about to do another Susato strike. I remember reading once in a detective novel. The culprit used a needle and thread to draw a bolt across from outside the room in a situation like this. Yes, that's a clever trick, isn't it? I'm an avid reader of detective stories myself. But the door of this cabin and its frame are made of metal, and they seal together perfectly. There would be no possibility of using that needle and thread trick here, I'm afraid. The glare. When she glares at me like that, I feel pins and needles all up and down my spine. Oh, we got a new friend here. Look over there. The crewman, do you mean? He wasn't there before, was he? That's what I thought. Why don't we try talking to him? Probably because I'm likely to get yelled at again, but I suppose I could try. Sure, why not? Hello, sir. Is something wrong, Naruhodo-san? Oh, no, it's just that the crewman's standing by the door. I can't help feeling like I've seen him before somewhere. Hang on, is that Inspector Hosonaga? Oh, yes, you're right. He does look familiar. Excuse me, sir. Oh god, it's Inspector Hosonaga. Yes? What can I do for you? I recognize that face. But it can't be. Oh, it can be. It is! I didn't know you were here, Inspector Hosonaga. Hello again. What are you doing here? I think that should be my line. I was so stunned when I saw you, my heart stopped. Nearly stopped, I hope. I received some special orders to go undercover as a member of the crew and board this ship. Again? You certainly seem to enjoy undercover work, Inspector. If there's anything I can do to help you, please ask. I never expected to see this man on board, but perhaps his presence can help me out of this hopeless situation. Let's converse. So what are your special orders this time, Inspector? Yes, and why are you dressed as a member of the crew? I'm so sorry. Hmm? This is all my fault. I take full responsibility. For what? My orders were to act as Asogi-san's bodyguard. Oh no. It was Minister of Justice Jigoku who pushed for this overseas study tour to go ahead. And he entrusted me with ensuring that Asogi-san reached Great Britain without being assassinated. What? Assassinated? How could that have even been a possibility? I'm not sure. But these are complicated times. There are tensions between the world's greatest powers. Minister Jigoku said we should be prepared for all eventualities. This is incredible. I don't believe it. Kusama-sama was assassinated? Obviously, we couldn't give Asogi-san a visible security escort. Which is why I'm undercover now, posing as one of the crew. I see. And I didn't take my eyes off him the entire time we've been on board. From morning until night, every day. That's not true. But I never imagined it would happen here, inside his own cabin. Not here on the first-class deck. Oh. Well, there we go. I failed miserably at my assignment, and Asogi-san is dead as a result. I'm a disgrace. All I can do is humbly apologize. Inspector? So if there's anything at all that I can do to help now, just say the word. Oh, I'll say it. We're doing what we can to investigate Kazuma's death ourselves. I thought you might be. You didn't do it, did you? You're not the killer? Of course not. We'd really like to investigate the cabin next door. Yes, so we need to be allowed out of this cabin. I'm sorry. What? You've been deemed a risk to the ship's safety. If you move to even touch the handle of the cabin door, that stormy-looking seaman there would surely snap your neck in two. I suppose. I'm not just a stowaway now. They'll think I'm a murderer as well. Would it be possible to give me something to work with here? Do you think? I'm going to need something persuasive. What do you mean? If I had a solid reason why the next door cabin should be investigated, for example, I'd do everything I could to persuade the cabin to allow it. Really, I'd lay my life on the line if I had to. But I don't see how... There may be a way. What? Really? Think of how you tried to persuade me of your innocence, Naruhodo-san. By presenting me with a piece of evidence that you already had in your possession. Evidence? It's just the same as when you were in court. You must have done it many times during your trial. Simply select the Present panel and choose some evidence that Inspector Hosonaga could use. So, evidence that would give us a viable reason to investigate the next door cabin, is it? Alright, yes, I think I might know what we can use. Let's see if I can present the detective with the evidence he needs to persuade the captain. Okay, so I know the reason, I just don't know what to present. So we have paper seal, crime scene photograph, revolutionary, The only thing I can think of is the diary. What's that? It's Kazuma's diary. Just before he died, Kazuma-sama wrote something rather strange in his diary. Strange? In what way? He wrote, What looks like some kind of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill. A speckled band? That is strange. Yes, we're still trying to work out what he meant by that. But what I'd like to know is... Don't tell me. The ventilator, is it? You're very astute, Inspector. That ventilator clearly joins to the next door cabin. That's right. So if we could investigate in there, we might be able to work out what the speckled band was. I gotta say, I'm a little I'm happy that Inspector Hosonaga has enjoyed us once again. Yeah, I'm just I enjoyed having him around last time. All right then. I can't leave this cabin at the moment. I'm stuck here until we arrive at the next port. The captain has given me strict orders to guard the scene of the crime, you see. I'll have to entrust the investigation to you. Really? You're willing to do that? Yes, as long as you don't leave the first-class cabin area. I'm afraid I can't remove those handcuffs, though. But what about the captain? Aren't you going against his direct orders? I'm a man of my word. And I promise you that I'll lay my life on the line, if that's what it takes to convince the captain. God, Hosonaga is so cool. After all, I failed to keep Asogi-san safe. This is the least I can do. Thank you. Let's seize the moment then, Naruhodo-san. Just select move, and we can leave this cabin at last. Move. Alright, let's see what we can find out. Okay, back. Move. There we are. First and foremost, we must get out of the cabin. That's helpful to have a little like, okay, this is where we're going next. Oh god, okay. Let's just sit back and relax. We'll wait for this to finish up. Phew. I'm finally out of that cabin. I have to admit, this isn't quite what I was expecting. It's less spacious out here than I thought it would be. And this is the most luxurious accommodation. What is this? Yes, indeed. Kusama-sama was being sent on this study tour by the government. That's why he was being put up in a first-class cabin. Even still, this is about twice as large as my accommodation in steerage. Really? That must be awful. Oh, look over there. That's another crewman keeping watch, and he looks enormous, even if he's sitting down. The door next to him leads to the second-class accommodation. I suppose he's making sure that no one comes in here who shouldn't. I suppose. Like people in handcuffs? Naruhodo-san, you look like a little boy visiting a toy shop for the first time. I would have thought you'd be used to the ship by now. We've been at sea for 2 weeks already. Yeah, but I haven't left the cabin. The thing is, I was inside Kazuma's trunk when I first came aboard. And ever since then, I've been shut up inside that little wardrobe. It must have been a very trying time for you. Please, don't give me that pitying look. Alright, well, let's start by examining this place. This looks like a plan of the SS Buria. It shows each deck. Look. The Buria is a large-scale steamship with a triple-skinned hull. What a marvel of engineering. Well, it's been playing on my mind for a while now, actually, but how is it that such a huge lump of metal doesn't just sink to the bottom of the ocean? Okay. This is what your detective mind has come up with? How do boats work? Oh, that's really quite simple, Naruhodo-san. It is? Well, consider the Japanese archipelago. The islands of Japan? Yes. They're not metal, but they are enormous lumps of earth, many, many times larger than this ship. Yeah, but they're not floating. And they don't sink, do they? They've been floating happily on the sea since the gods created them. They don't float. Am I? Sorry, is there a gas leak in this room? What is going on here? I feel like I'm losing my mind. That's a huge book on top of the table there. And there's a pen next to it. Yes, that looks like the ship's log. Shall we have a little look through it? The writing is so neat and precise. Every detail about the voyage has been meticulously recorded. You wouldn't expect a rough and ready sailor to have such beautiful handwriting. And, nothing. No reaction at all. I thought he might appreciate the compliment. I'm not sure that rough and ready is much of a compliment, Naruhodo-san. Even to a sailor. I don't know. Seems fine to me. Anyway, last night's log is mostly blank. Presumably that means there was nothing to report, which is odd. Yeah, she thinks it's odd too. So there's a cabin, there's a guy. Before I investigate that, might as well investigate this. What do you think this is? It's a very pleasing shape. Okay. That's the emergency alarm. It's probably best not to touch it. Oh, an alarm. It says press only in times of emergency. Well, I'm being framed for murder, so bop. It looks as though it sets alarm bells ringing all over the ship and brings the vessel to a complete stop. Oh, this I have to see. What are you doing, Naruhodo-san? You mustn't touch it. But this is an emergency situation. Just look at these handcuffs. Well said. Ooh, arms akimbo. You know full well that's not what the alarm is for. If you were to bring this vessel to a standstill for no good reason, you'd be in an even worse situation. How could it be worse? Jehovah, Jehovah, Jehovah. I wish everything would just stop. This ship included. If you have to do something foolish, at least make it something that doesn't affect anyone else. Okay. So I don't know which is mine, but I want to take a look at this. Oh, that's supposed to be cheese then. Ah, a trap for catching mice. Yes, we have plenty of those back home in Japan. Although they seem to be using a lump of chalk or something as bait. Let me see. Yes, I think that's what's called cheese. It's made from the milk of cows. Strange. Cheese? Wonder what that tastes like. Just go on and grab some. You can't eat it, Naruhodo-san. The trap will snap shut on your fingers. Really? But, I suppose you're right. You weren't actually going to try it, were you? All I've had to eat for the past couple of weeks is Kazuma's leftovers. You don't know how hungry I've been in that wardrobe. Poor you. I'll find a little snack for you later. Alright, so these are the two doors. Interesting. So we've examined these. Well, let's try talking to the sailor. Excuse me, but could I ask you for something? Cool tan.
You little stowaway murderer.
That wasn't a good start, was it? Alright, let me try instead. Good day, Mr. Sailor. I'm so sorry to trouble you, but could I perhaps ask something of you?
You little third-class lady's maid.
Oh. Aww. We seem to have caught the sailor on a bad day, Susato-san.
I am not sailor. My mother gave me name. I am senior crewman Biff Stroganoff.
Phew. Best thing is just to avoid eye contact, I think. Easy enough when you're so much smaller than he is. Mr. Stroganoff, About this first-class cabin area.
Here we are in finest part of Buria's steamship for very important persons.
What sort of very important persons?
Government officials, kings and queens traveling in secret. Many important persons. That is why I'm always guarding this place.
Gosh, that's amazing.
But somehow I let stupid stowaway inside. I want to pick you up and throw you in ocean, but Stroganoff is not animal.
Thank you? If I may, I was wondering, is the cabin next to Mr. Asogi's currently occupied?
Da.
Susato-san, did you understand that? It sounded like da. Yeah, so I was able to read that. I think it's probably Russian for yes, or no. Genius. It's Russian for yes.
It is not permitted to visit other cabins without invitation.
Well, it sounds like there is somebody in the next door cabin at least. Yes, it's tantalizing. Could you tell us who's traveling in the cabin next to Mr. Asogi's?
His name is Mr. Grimsby Roylott. He's a very important Western gentleman.
A Western gentleman? Where have I heard that before?
Do not think about it. He has nothing to do with murder of student boy.
How can you be so sure about that?
Mr. Roylott is authentic Western gentleman. Such a man would have no interest in lowly student from insignificant Far East Islands.
That was harsh. Could you tell us when Mr. Roylott came aboard?
That is not your business.
Come to think of it, even though we've been at sea for 2 weeks now, and I've been in Kazuma's cabin the entire time, I've never once heard anything from the next door cabin, or even felt like there's anyone there. Well, presumably, since this gentleman is occupying one of the first-class cabins, he must be rather important. Is that right?
That is not your business.
Are you on watch here all the time, Seaman Stroganoff?
Da. All time. So criminals like you cannot come in, nor get out.
I wonder, could you tell us anything about last night at all?
It is sad about student boy.
Were you on watch last night as well?
Of course.
Boy, it's difficult to do this conversation with Stroganoff's voice, Ryunosuke's voice, and Susato's voice. All at once. Very different vocal ranges. And did you notice anything at the time? Anything unusual?
Niet.
Susato-san, did you understand that? Oh, okay. It was clearly a no.
I saw nothing unusual. Nothing at all.
And you didn't hear any strange noises or sense anything was wrong in some way? Looking to the side?
I said no.
Sorry. What language are we all speaking? I'm not so sure. I could have sworn that he wouldn't catch my eye for a moment there. Yeah, that's what I thought too.
This is enough. I cannot say more now.
Oh,
It is time for me to report to Captain. You must return to cabin.
yes, alright.
Bulkhead to second class area is staying locked at all times. You escape when the lobster whistles on top of the mountain, or as English say, when the pigs fly.
Yes, I understand. Good. Now we can investigate this area properly, shall we? Definitely. So is there anything new I can examine? The ship protocols. Interesting. That book on top of the table there really is huge. There's a pen with it, too. Okay, is this the same conversation? Wait, is this the same thing? Anyway, look here. Last night's log is mostly blank. Okay, I remember this. Wait, what? Okay. That was not new at all. Okay, that is checked off. Checked off. Checked off. Okay, I assume we're supposed to check out the other cabin. That's the way to the second class area of the ship. Is something wrong? I was thinking about making a run for it. Just for a moment. Things aren't exactly going well for me. I might be wrong, but I imagine the moment you reach for the handle of the door... Yeah, that burly seaman that we can see right here would shoot me dead. Oh dear, I'm sorry. Perhaps I went a little too far there. No, I started with my talk of running away. There's no way I could run away while Kazuma's death remains a mystery anyway. Alright. Speaking of mysteries, how did that guard suddenly become invisible? Alright, so is this our cabin? First class cabin number 1. Yes, that's our cabin. Not our cabin, it's Kazuma-sama's. Sorry? Your accommodation is confined to the wardrobe inside the cabin. You know how to make a stowaway feel small, don't you? As small as the wardrobe I've been calling home. These cabins are the finest on the ship. My own cabin in steerage is number 539, by the way. 500 and... Well, how many cabins are there? Yeah, that's a great question. Alright, let's check out the real tamale here. This is it. This is the cabin next to ours. The one the ventilator connects to. Yes, the ventilator from which Kazuma-sama wrote that he saw a speckled band emerging. Maybe who's ever in this cabin can help solve that particular mystery. Let's ask. No answer. We're out of luck, it seems. There's no one in there to help with our inquiries. How annoying. What? What was that? It came from inside the cabin. Such a high-pitched scream. It must have been a woman. Stand aside. I'm about to break the door down. Mr. Holmes. I shan't be stopped. When the fit is on me, I revel in kicking doors off their hinges. Cool. Please, wait, Mr. Holmes. The door doesn't appear to be bolted. It doesn't? Then how the deuce can I dispatch this muscular urge? What, pray, can I kick? I think we should go in. There's no time to think about stress relief. Oh. Who are you? A Western gentleman? The man looks Russian to me. We heard a woman scream.
A woman? Don't be absurd. As you can see, there is nobody but me in this cabin.
True, this old man does appear to be the only person in here. But in that case, who just screamed? In that case.
Get out, all of you, now!
Please excuse the intrusion, but you're Mr. Grimesby Roylott, I believe.
Yes, that's me. And you are?
I am the one and only, the actual Sherlock Holmes. You've heard of me, no doubt.
No.
I am a great detective among great detectives. One who adorns the covers of popular magazines, no less. So I assure you, you may trust me completely. The man uses that magazine like a business card.
A detective? I do not trust detectives.
We distinctly heard a scream emanating from within these walls. But there wouldn't appear to be a lady concealing herself within the wardrobe this time. So, might I be so bold as to ask you to open that small traveling case?
What? Don't be stupid. How could anyone fit in a small trunk like that?
Well, it's quite fashionable these days, is it not? Traveling inside one's trunk? Don't look at me. Oh, there it is. Oh my! Did you see that, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes, the case just shook.
Leave, meow, otherwise I'll call the steward.
So this is Kazuma's neighbor, Mr. Grimesby Roylott. There's no doubt about it. This strange Russian man is hiding something. I couldn't agree more. Let's see if we can find some clues before that burly sailor returns. Sure, let's converse. Mr. Roylott, we'd like to talk to you about something.
No,
Oh,
I do not want to talk. Leave my cabin now.
this is going terribly. We're not getting anywhere here. I agree, but there may be someone else who can help. Perhaps that great detective could get somewhere with Mr. Roylott? Alright. I think it's going to be mostly the same with this guy, so we'll just start examining. Hi, Mr. Holmes.
Sholmes. What do you think you're doing? This is my cabin. Get out.
Could we just have a quick look inside your traveling case, perhaps?
No.
What a pity. I think we're out of luck. I think you're right. There doesn't appear to be anything more we can do. I agree, but there may be someone else who can help. A Mr. Herlock Sholmes. Do you have a moment, please, Mr. Holmes? You need only address me as Holmes. That's what I just did, isn't it? Okay, well, Mr. Holmes, what were you doing in there? Why, I was resting, of course. Resting? Indeed, I was contemplating our sea voyage from the confines of the wardrobe whilst waiting. Waiting for the inevitable time that you would need to call my great powers of deduction into service. Oh! And it would seem that the hour is upon us now. The time has come. Am I mistaken? Well, no, actually, you're spot on for once. Observe closely. Our Russian host in this cabin, Mr. Roylott, is clearly trying to hide something. Yeah, amazing powers of deduction. And do you know what the most effective weapon to use against a Russian hiding a secret? Why? The truth, of course. Though it should be pointed out that such methods are not exclusively for the Russians. Okay, thanks. Right. Can you imagine how the Russian will react when the secret he guards so closely is exposed? Would you like to witness it? Oh yes, please! Well then, what you are about to see may well astound you. For I am about to apply my great detective's greatly admired great deduction to the case. Great. Could this man be a more hackneyed portrayal of a dubious Russian? I ask you.
What?
From time to time it occurs to me. Is the fellow dubious on account of his Russianness, or Russian on account of his dubiousness? That's extremely racist. I really don't think either of those things should be occurring to you. Or anyone. That's right. And Mr. Holmes... I know this man's beard and dark glasses are hard to ignore, especially in first meeting, but I once read... It is a capital mistake to theorize before you have all the evidence. It biases the judgment. Shush! I must have complete silence. What are you doing? Why are you peering at my face like that? Ah, just as I thought. Yes, I have quite made up my mind now. There can be no other explanation that accommodates all the facts. Mr. Roylott, I have reached two incontrovertible conclusions. What do you mean? Number one, your true identity is that of a villain. Using those shears, you are about to end the existence of something most dear. Are you not? Huh? And number two, the other conclusion I have drawn, you are, at this very moment no less, in the midst of committing a most grievous crime. Beneath that beard, your mouth quivers with nervous tension as you realize you have been discovered. Does it not? Ugh. Oh, Naruhodo-san. I never imagined I would witness one of Mr. Holmes' great deductions with my own eyes. That was a great deduction. Nothing can deceive Mr. Holmes. In a single glance, he can deduce all there is to know about a person. What? What ineffable twaddle. Well said. Oh, yes, I've read about it countless times in the adventures of Sherlock Holmes. And now I've experienced the astonishing impact of his great deduction firsthand. This is like a dream come true. I can hardly believe it, but all the color has drained from Mr. Roylott's face. It looks like somehow both Mr. Holmes' conclusions were right. How? How could you? How could I possibly know such things, you wish to say? Very well then. I shall elucidate. I think that's how you pronounce that. He keeps saying it. I shall explain how it was that I arrived at this pair of conclusions. So, do I cordially invite you upon a journey of logical discovery. Let us board the train of reasoning. Okay. Put plainly, let's work through my deductions together. Okay, the game is afoot. Old man's identity. Oh god, this is a cutscene? So, the dubious-looking Russian, Mr. Roylott, obviously what catches the eye in the first place. So I'm guessing he's gonna say, oh, you're gonna cut off your beard with the scissors, which is a horrible crime. Which is so dumb. Is the enormous pair of shears in your hand? Now we ask ourselves, what could you possibly want with such an implement? The answer, of course, is staring us in the face. You are on the verge of using the shears to cut away the copious beard you sport. God damn it. Now, moving on. The question then begged is this. Why would you desire to rid yourself of this magnificent beard, Mr. Roylott? Once again, the answer is plain. We have clear evidence to shed light on the matter. Regard, if you will, this morning's newspaper, in particular the fascinating front page article. Which, it would appear, you have read also, Mr. Roylott. I'm sure it needs no further clarification. The evidence that reveals your true identity is the article about the revolutionary. In translation, the headline reads, Revolutionary Villain Bolshevik flees Russia via Shanghai. As you cannot fail to observe, the subject of the article possesses an extremely copious beard. Okay, smooth moves over here. Having noted the article yourself, you decided to remove your incriminating facial hair before it gave you away. In short, your true identity is beyond doubt. You are the fearsome Russian revolutionary himself, Vilen Bolshevik. Not that I've heard of you myself, you understand. Alright, not impossible. Now, as for my second conclusion, you are, at this very moment, on the brink of committing a most grievous crime. And the proof of this crime? Over there. Oh yes, Mr. Roylott. Taken unawares, people have a propensity to let their eyes stray, you see. And I assure you, the eyes speak so much more eloquently and honestly than the mouth. The answer we seek lies where the furtive glance falls. The proof of your crime sits before our very eyes. Yes, that traveling case. It is time, I think, that the case be opened and its contents laid bare.
No, I refuse.
What could you possibly be concealing inside, we ask? By my estimation, a young lady, perhaps, one slight enough to fit therein.
Don't be absurd.
And what, pray, would the identity of this young lady be in the traveling case? Dear me, we are not well suited to a life of crime, are we? Your careless Coudoyle, is that how you pronounce that? Betrays you. Once again, we need only follow your furtive glance to find the answer. Yes, the reason you refuse to open your traveling case can equally be found in the pages of this newspaper. For there is another most stimulating article. If we turn from the fleeing revolutionary to the back page. Renowned prima ballerina of the Novovik Ballet disappears from Shanghai. Now, if I wasn't reading all this out, I'm sure the fast movements and the dancing around of the detective would be much more impressive, because, again, they would be happening in quicker succession, because I'm reading all of his lines. Hope people don't mind the voice I've given this guy. Such a headline can leave us to but one conclusion. Your crime is that of abduction. And according to the article, the young lady's name is Nikolina Pavlova. Alright. Well, we'll find out if it's true. Thus concludes Sherlock Holmes' great deduction of this Russian enigma. Elemensky. Jesus Christ. Alright. Susado-san. That wasn't one of the great deductions I've been hearing so much about, was it? Well, the stories are full of Mr. Holmes' brilliant deductions, you know. But that did seem a little different somehow. Excuse me, Mr. Holmes, could you come over here a moment? Pray, what can I do for you? It's about your deductions. Would you mind? Not at all. Go on. Well, to start with, here's the newspaper article. I think we had the same discussion before, but these two men look nothing like each other. Yeah, that's fair. Well, it's hard to tell in the 2D versus the 3D model. Ah, yes, I recall our discussion earlier. And at the time, I believe I told you that the man is a revolutionary, well able to revolutionize his own appearance. In fairness to Mr. Holmes, Mr. Roylott does look more like this man than you do. Yeah, but he also said I was him. That's not the point. And another thing, the part about him abducting the ballerina. Indeed, a truly startling revelation. At first glance, the case would appear too small to accommodate a young woman. Not just at first glance, it is too small, clearly, but if she was a ballerina, you'd be lucky to fit a 5-year-old child into that case, even if you push really hard. I don't suppose the missing ballerina is a 5-year-old child, is she? You mean you don't know? No, the young lady is 15. No, I didn't know. How could I? Well, if she's 15, then 10 years worth of her will be poking out from the case. Some years ago, I read something pertinent, I believe. A troop of men consuming vinegar daily in order to promote a certain litheness in their bodies. Did you know? Vinegar? For such a sour bunch, it would surely be simplicity itself to contort oneself into the confines of that small case. Oh dear. You might be thinking of contortionists in the circus, Mr. Holmes. Ugh, this whole thing is turning into a circus. Mr. Naruhodo, something's just occurred to me about Mr. Holmes' deductions just now. I think his powers of observation are, well, magical. His eyes cut to the heart of a matter almost instantly. It's just where he directs his attention and his logic that seems a little off. Your idea of a little may be a little off itself, Miss Susato. It's just one or two key words in his deductions that seem to let him down. So I was wondering if we might perhaps tactfully switch them for alternatives. What do you think? Switch some key words in his deductions. Yes, but very tactfully. I feel sure if we could do that, we'd unlock the true genius of Mr. Holmes' great deduction. Precisely the thought that was going through my own mind. This man is a lot of work. At times, I wonder how anyone puts up with me. Ha 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 ha! I certainly don't. It's not that funny. Ah, and you, my good fellow. Sorry? Take a moment to look at your wrists. My wrists. What? Where are your handcuffs? Huh? How did... I feel they may hinder your ability to follow me in our dance of deduction. I don't believe it. Mr. Holmes, you are a marvel. And don't worry, I shall restore the shackles to your wrists when we are finished. Yeah, I'm good, thanks. I'm not worried. In fact, I'd rather stay like this. So, let us begin. Sherlock Sholmes is proud to present his logic and reasoning spectacular. Course correction. Oh god, is this a... Wait, how does this work? This mechanic has never been in any of the other games so far. Alright. I've already read this whole thing, so... I'm not reading it again. Okay. Copious beard. I'm not sure. Would you really use shears like that to cut off a beard? I doubt that's something I'll ever have to worry about. Yeah, looks like it. It doesn't quite sit right with me, though. It doesn't seem to be sitting right with Mr. Roylott, either. Which means, I suppose, that the deduction is wrong. Let's try to switch a key word here, Naruhodo-san, and see if it helps matters. Alright, but how? I think we should start by taking a long, hard look at Mr. Roylott. I wonder if it's really his beard that he intended to use those shears on. Exactly. If we do manage to find something that seems to fit the sense of Mr. Holmes' deduction better, then what? Then I'll leave the rest in your capable hands, Naruhodo-san. Why am I the one to do something about this? Well, anyway, let's see if there's anything we could even use to switch around in that last sentence. What exactly was Mr. Roylott really going to use those enormous shears for? There's a copious beard. There's a thick hat. Can we move around? We can. Oh, coat buttons. Golden locks. Well, how would you have golden locks? Oh! I understand. I get it. Okay. This is the ballerina in a disguise. What the? What's this? It looks like a cascade of stunning golden locks. No, the color's not the point. The point is, what's it doing on the back of Mr. Roylott's head? And how's it growing out from underneath his thick black hair? Yes, that's true. So it's stunningly beautiful and stunningly surprising. Something's definitely not right here. Alright, so this is gonna be the one. Okay. Thank you for the assist, Ryunosuke. That's pretty cool. You're on the verge of using the shears to cut away the golden locks you sport. Indeed. You have identified the precise detail I was intending to expose. Yeah, sure we have. Such lush golden hair certainly does not befit an old man. You're not a man at all. You're a woman, and judging from the length and sheen of your hair, one still very much in her youth. Oh no. If only I had managed to cut off my hair, no one would have suspected. The question then begged is this: why would you desire to rid yourself of these magnificent locks? Once again, the answer is plain. We have clear evidence to shed light on the matter. I'm sure it needs no further clarification. The evidence that reveals your true identity is the article about the revolutionary. No, it's the article about the ballerina. Well, that was a shock. I had no idea that old man was really a young woman in disguise. Did you? As soon as I saw the hair, I did know. What? Why are you staring at me like that? Yes, it was a surprise, Naruhodo-san. You're enjoying this, aren't you? Sorry? You look like you're in your element as you dance around the room, deducing the facts with Mr. Holmes. Well, I'm just doing what we agreed. I'm not having fun or anything. This is strictly business. No, strictly Yes, I understand. Say no more. Well, anyway, let's focus on this next part of Mr. Holmes' deduction, shall we? The evidence that he's picked out doesn't fit the facts at all now. No, that's true, given that Mr. Roylott is actually a woman. Exactly. He, or rather, she, can't possibly be this merciless revolutionary. I suppose it's because the deduction as a whole has been taken in a different direction now. Yes. Let's switch the evidence around for something else. Something that fits the facts as we now understand them. For some reason, this woman needed to try to hide her true identity, because it's a ballerina. I feel as though I've either read or heard about a young woman in a situation like that recently. Alright, I'll do my best. Yeah. Okay. The evidence that reveals your true identity is, of course, the article about the ballerina. That's right. That's right. You've hit the nail on the head. Renowned prima ballerina of the Novovik Ballet disappears from Shanghai. It would appear we are finally able to address you by your true name. Yes, because your true identity is that of the Novovik Ballet's prima ballerina. Miss Nikolina Pavlova. Ah! Yikes. Alright, here we are. You're right. My real name is Nikolina Pavlova. But please, I beg you, don't tell anyone. A ballerina on the run. There we go. Solved. Alright, on to number 2. As for my second conclusion, you are at this very moment on the brink of committing a most grievous crime. And the proof of this crime? Over there. Oh yes, Miss Pavlova. Taken unawares, people have a propensity to let their eyes stray, you see. And I assure you, the eyes speak so much more eloquently and honestly than the mouth. This we've read before. The answer we seek lies where the furtive glance falls. The proof of your crime sits before our very eyes. Yes, that traveling case. It's not the traveling case? This woman is a ballerina, and she's right in front of our eyes. So clearly she can't be inside the traveling case as well. No, that's right. It seems she wasn't abducted at all. In which case, what is the crime this young woman is apparently committing? I can see I'm gonna have to step in and fix the great detective's mistake again. You seem to look pleased, Naruhodo-san. Do you like the idea of another chance to dance around with Mr. Holmes? I think I do. Anyway, there must be something else here that shows what this woman is up to. Okay, where's the tiara? Can we... Oh, we can! Ah! There it is. Yeah. The proof of your crime is surely this tiara. Ah! I believe this tiara is worn on stage by dancers in the Novovich Ballet, is it not? Indeed, it would appear to be identical to the tiara pictured here in this newspaper article. And if the reporting is to be believed, it's an item worth 20,000 rubles. In summary, the crime you have committed is theft. Oh no. Yes, you left your ballet troupe, unlawfully taking their precious tiara with you. I have no one, no family, no friends. I'm all alone and I need money. But I did not steal the tiara. It was a present from, how you say, an Earl of Prussia. It belongs to me. Prussia's still around. Oh wait, would it be? No. It would be... Well, actually, yes. It's a state in Germany. So, I don't know. This girl is only 15 years old, and she's run away all by herself. She must have been extremely lonely. Alright. I will tell you everything. There is no point in hiding it now. Come, come, let us not be hasty. What? There remains one unsolved mystery about you. Mystery? What do you mean? You have staunchly refused to open this traveling case of yours in our presence. It is reasonable to conclude, therefore, that there exists some reason why you wish it to remain closed. Is that not My dear girl, there is no sense in playing games with me. Nothing escapes my attention. Indeed, I have a very good idea of the contents of your case, even before I have ever laid eyes on them. Dear me. We are not well suited to a life of crime, are we? Your careless coup d'oeil betrays you. Coup d'oeil. Once again, we need only to follow your furtive glance to find the answer. Yes, the reason why you refuse to open your case is written in the books on the shelf? He's completely changed tack with his deduction now. I think Mr. Holmes is adapting his logic to the changing circumstances, don't you? Maybe, but why has he suddenly brought up the bookshelf into all this? It's just a wild guess, surely. Oh, do you think so? Well, it doesn't seem likely that the reason why this young woman doesn't want to open her case would have been written in a book that doesn't even belong to her. Yes, that's true, but still, Miss Pavlova certainly did cast her eyes in that direction. I noticed it myself. Then there has to be another reason why she won't open her case. And it must be somewhere in the same area, if that's where her gaze was involuntarily drawn. I agree. That's the only answer. Whatever she has hidden inside that case should be revealed by following her gaze in the direction of the bookshelf. Ah, here it is. She's carried a dog with her. Yes, the reason why you refuse to open your case is written in the rules of passage. Passengers must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in their cabins. Pets are also strictly forbidden. Inside that case of yours is something forbidden from carriage on this vessel. That is a real reason why you refuse to open it, thus revealing its contents. As we've seen, the trunk wobbles from time to time, but no weapon or other dangerous item would move of its own accord. Which leaves but one possibility, Miss Pavlova. Inside your traveling case is the last item forbidden in the vessel's rules of passage. A pet. Alright, well danced. Men. Yeah, my character was absolutely enjoying that. And to be honest, I was also enjoying that quite a bit. Elementary, my dear Watson. Or Wilson, in this case. So clearly, you aren't who you said you were. That is very, very clear. And we will figure out exactly what the situation is here, if there is really an Earl of Prussia, and what kind of pet she has with her. I assume a small dog. In the next episode, there's also a dog bowl there as well. My powers of deduction are off the charts after doing that song and dance with Mr. Sherlock Holmes, or Herlock Sholmes, whichever you prefer to call him. Either way, we're going to leave all this to the next episode. Thank you so much for joining me on this adventure. And I'm slowly warming up to Sherlock Holmes as well. At the beginning, I was just like, God, this man is so dumb, but it's becoming a little more endearing. So, yeah, we'll hopefully find even more endearing things about him in the next episode. I'm World Undone. Thanks for joining me in this episode. And until next time, take care.